Yoseo, all my beautiful people, how are you doing? I just wanted to do a quick video about Robert Tellis and talk to you about his verdict and sentencing that came through yesterday. Man, that guy who got up and did his narrative testimony, I've never seen that before. So apparently in Nevada, you can do a narrative testimony if the judge allows. And the jury is also allowed to ask questions, which is very interesting. Like I said, every time we watch a trial, it's different in every state. So this is was definitely different. Robert Tellis, the jury was out for several days, it felt like. They really thought this through. They asked a lot of questions. They didn't really ask a lot of questions. They really asked for more of the evidence that they wanted to take a look at while they were deliberating. I think they probably had like one holdout juror that was just kind of questioning if it really could have been him. They were looking at the walk of the person in the video, but I think pretty much the evidence was all leading to Robert Tellis, as we kind of had discussed in the past during the trial. You couldn't have had a more real case that was kind of buttoned up, put in a little box and wrapped and with a nice little bow on it. I mean, other than having the actual weapon, you really couldn't have had a better case for the prosecution. I mean, you had the DNA of Robert Tellis under the fingernails of Mr. Gurman. And honestly, I would have hung my hat on that more than anything, more than the gait, the walk of Mr. Tellis. I would have done the DNA. I would have dug deeper into that. I would have really put all my eggs in that basket. Also, the shoes in his house that were cut up into little tiny pieces, the straw hat. It is a very big stretch to say, and I'm not going to say it's a stretch, because look, we have seen cases in trials in the past where clearly, I mean, look at Karen Reed. You have people who obviously are in cahoots with one another. There's money, there's politics, there's all kinds of things involved in these cases a lot of times. And you're just like, there's no way in the world that there could be this big of a conspiracy, right? That people would go this far to put someone in prison for the rest of their life, you know? So, I mean, but we have seen cases that this has happened. And it's usually, though, it usually involves someone who is lesser advantaged than another. So I would say that this situation, though, really didn't make a whole lot of sense, because if anything, if anyone wanted to do any damage or hurt Robert Tellis in any way, it would really just be to hurt Robert Tellis. Like, it didn't make any sense. It didn't match up. Like, why would they want to hurt this journalist to hurt Robert Tellis? That just didn't, there was no connection there. Also, because he'd already lost the primary, his election, he wasn't going to get reelected. So there's nothing getting rid of this journalist was going to do to help him or make him look any better. And there was no work he was going to be able to do in his position before he left it that was going to make this big difference that he says he was making in Clark County, that was going to make anything different. The only thing that was going to change, and I will say, oh, Robert has a type, because his wife is Asian, and so is the woman he was cheating on his wife with. Because when she got on the stand to do her impact statement, which is kind of strange because they don't do just an impact statement, they actually get questioned, and they have to go under oath. It's kind of strange. I've never seen that before either. So learning something new all the time in these trials. But he did not flinch when Mr. Gurman's family got on the stand to do their statements and say what they had to say about what a wonderful man he was, what a bulldog reporter he was, how he loved being an investigative journalist, what a great family man, how he loved the holidays. To just be attacked like that in broad daylight in your front yard unexpectedly is just absolutely awful. And he didn't deserve that. I think he was working on a really good story. And I mean, it was a juicy story, for that area. You have a local politician that is having a salacious affair with someone in his office, and he was about to expose it. And, I think that was probably just the one thing Robert Tellis probably could handle pretty much anything that Mr. Gurman was putting out about him, other than this affair situation. He just didn't want that to get out with his wife. So anyway, it took a while, but the jury did come back with a guilty, and he was sentenced to life with a possibility of parole in 20 years. So he could get parole in 20 years. But as I stated, he didn't show any emotion for Mr. Gurman and his family and the loss that they suffered at all. He did show emotion when his wife was on the stand talking about what a father he was, the type of husband he was, or, Mr. Tellis, I'm talking about. So he was emotional about that. So I think that he's very upset about what he's losing and what he has lost. I don't think he's upset at all about Mr. Gurman and what he has lost and what his family has lost. I truly think he believes in his own crazy mind that he didn't do anything wrong, and that he really does believe that he was somehow framed for this, even though he actually did this. I mean, there's zero reason why you can't explain his DNA under Mr. Gurman's fingernails. Like, you just can't. You can't explain the shoes. You can't explain your vehicle. You can't explain. There's so many things you can't explain. So, and just by you saying, I think there's a conspiracy, I think they're trying to frame me, I think this is my gut feeling, this is what, you don't have any evidence to substantiate that, is not going to help you get out of this situation. So, I mean, kudos to him for doing all he could to defend himself. I mean, if you got nothing to lose, you would get on the stand, right? I mean, you're either a narcissist to get on the stand to defend yourself, or you have literally nothing else to lose but to get on the stand and defend yourself. Like, you literally have, what else, what other harm is it going to do to get up there and speak in your own defense? Because you don't have any other choice. The prosecution is throwing everything they can at you. So what other choice do you have but to get up there and defend yourself? So you can be that person. Like, I mean, I mean, if I were having my life on the line and I was definitely innocent and I knew I didn't do it, and I had someone talking about me like I was this horrible, horrible person, and I had no say in anything, I would want to be able to defend myself. I would want to be able to be like, yo, I'd be one to scream from the rooftops, I didn't do this. So I can see where Robert Tellis got on the stand and he's like, I'm innocent, I did not do this. But then he just kind of went off the rails a little bit and was like, this is a conspiracy, they're out to get me. And then it just didn't make any sense at all. And then he just really talked about all his achievements and his job and everything he did so great at and all that he was so wonderful at. And then he just kind of lost from there. So, you know, I would have been doing a lot more fighting for my life than talking about what a great job I was doing as a public administrator. I don't know. That's just me. I would have given two craps about what my job was. I'd have just been like, yo, I'm innocent, I did not do this. I was here, 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 and here. Here's my alibi. You can track it. You can find me. But you couldn't find him because his phone was on airplane mode. And there was nowhere for him. There was nothing. Kind of like Jeffrey Herbstman. Don't know where he was. There's no way to know. So yeah, there's that. But yes, so Robert Tellis was found guilty. He is going to serve at least 20 years. So he could be out by the time he's 70 something years old. That could happen. We also have Brian Koberger, who is filing a motion. They had a hearing today regarding his motion to move his trial to another location because he clearly is not going to get a fair trial in Moscow, Idaho, not Russia. Although he might get a fair trial in Russia, might get a more fair trial in Russia than he would here. I mean, Just saying. Uh, I'll give you my thoughts on Brian Koberger. I am not 100% sold on this guy. This is another case that you guys would probably be like, I would not want you to be on that jury. But I am not 100% sold. I find it very strange that you can have one person, pokey pokey, 400 people. I mean, 4 people. Sorry, not 400. Oh my gosh. Woo! 4 people. And no one scream, no one set anybody else off, no one running through the house like a chicken with their head cut off looking for help. I mean, come on, man. God, I sound like Joe Biden. Never try to do that. But anyway, I'm just saying, like, seriously, you can't control 4 people. And one of them was a dude. I mean, he seemed like a pretty guy's guy. So I'm just saying, like, how could you handle 4 people and you're poke, 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 like, I just don't get it. So I just think the lack of evidence that I've seen so far, I have not seen the evidence. So I'm just saying what they've put out there with their little sound bites and everything. So I don't know. So I want to see the trial. But they are asking for it to be moved. And this trial is taking forever to happen because he has waived his right to a speedy trial because obviously he's saying he's innocent and he's sticking by that. But he's already been tried by the media and already been found guilty by the media. So that's what's so sad about this country is that we do have innocent until proven guilty. However, once it's in the media, you are already kind of SOL because you have already been put on trial on TV, on the internet, on everything, and it's already been decided. Your fate has been decided. Everyone knows about you. So it's really sad that happens in this country. It happens everywhere. So I don't even know why I'm saying just this country, but we just have a system that is broken, and it's hard for people to get a fair trial. Don't get me wrong. I love being the fly on the wall, and I love being able to be my self-appointed alternate juror self that I have this channel. But I just wish people could look at things more logically and be the fly on the wall instead of automatically having an opinion out the gate before we hear all the evidence. And that's the problem is we think we see all the evidence in these trials when we watch them on TV, but we're not. There's a lot of information that the judge does not allow in. There's a lot of things that the judge does not allow the prosecution or the defense to have in there. There's things that we don't know about behind the scenes. So there's a lot of things. There's times when we watch trials that we recap together or that we watch live together, and we don't really know what's actually going on behind the scenes. The only trial that I can tell you that I know more about than any other that I've watched is the Samantha Wall trial. I know a lot of things behind the scenes because I've actually been able to have some contact with people behind the scenes. So I know a lot more about that trial than I would say Brian Koberger's trial. Okay. So there's a lot of things going on that most of us are not aware of. So we can assume, we can make our hypotheses by what we see in the media, the tidbits, the sound bites, what have you. But at the end of the day, I'm going off Robert Tellis, off of what I saw in the trial. And what I saw in the trial was there was a lot of evidence that pointed to him, a lot. But there was also a lot of things that were missing, pieces that were missing, but more of it pointed to him. So it was kind of there wasn't anybody else kind of situation, kind of like Alec Murdaugh, right? Like Alec Murdaugh, you didn't have anything really. There was no actual smoking gun per se, but at the same time, who else would benefit? Who else would do it? So, I mean, that's kind of the situation. And that's sort of how juries end up making their decisions, I believe, is that they get to the point where they're just like, well, it couldn't be anyone else because the evidence looks really good for this person that they have. So that's how they decide, which is really sad. So anyway, there's a lot more going on in the crime world, but y'all know I am super focused on the Samantha Wall case. I really want to get that solved. But I really just wanted to let you all know about Robert Tellis. If you have been paying attention to that trial, is very interesting. Just because it was senseless. And I'm not saying that any deletion is sensible in any way. But this is very senseless. I mean, my gosh, I can't imagine just like pulling up in my driveway and then being attacked. And gosh, that would just be it's just awful. And for what? For an affair that you didn't want to come out, and now your wife has definitely found out about the affair because now you're going to prison. So, yeah. So that's Robert Tellis. I know I was supposed to be live this week, you guys, but they ended up not showing the trucker trial, so they're just showing highlights. They have other stuff going on, and I don't know what trials are coming up next week, so I will look into it and make sure that we get to go live because I do miss you guys being live. But I am going to continue to recap the Samantha Wall trial and continue to find holes and opportunities that we could have caught during the trial, but it would have been too late anyway. It's just like it's too late now. It's a coulda, woulda, shoulda. But that's what we're doing. We're coulda, woulda, shoulda. That didn't sound great. Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to buy me a coffee if you would like. And also don't forget about the new merch that's going to be showing up tomorrow. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I know I already have a couple of faithful OGs that have already bought some merch from me. And I really, really appreciate you guys. So super bunches. So thank you. Oh, my dog is here asking me to take him out. So I will catch up with you guys later. 감사합니다.